Hey everyone, welcome into another episode of Nebraska Shootaround where we discuss Nebraska men's basketball. And before we get to that, make sure you go check out the Omaha Supernovas. Their next game is Sunday, February 18th against the Orlando Valkyries. You can find tickets at supernovas.com. All right, Jacob. Nebraska won a game. They have the bye week. They won a game since we last talked. It was Michigan. It was a blowout. Michigan isn't very good. And we knew that a little bit going in, especially on the road, right?
Yeah, without Doug McDaniel. But
Nebraska dominated.
A little surprised at just how bad they were. Like they couldn't complete passes.
No.
They couldn't make open shots. They were just an absolute mess.
Disinterested would be the term. They did not want to be there.
Yeah, it was, again, just really rough basketball. And to Nebraska's credit, they took advantage, and they did play well. It wasn't necessarily – I mean, I think it was kind of a little close early, 9-7, and then Nebraska went on a 34-6 run.
Casey was getting whatever he wanted, shots.
And that's exactly what I noted, too, because you break that down. They went on a 13-0 run. Casey had 7 of the first 9.
They didn't even try and really guard him. They were just out there. It was weird.
Then they hit him with a 16-1 run, and Casey had 5 points, 2 assists. He had a hockey assist from that. He was just getting spots on me. He passed really well in this game. Made some great plays.
Did. The ball movement for everybody in the game was great. I mean, they were just skipping the ball around. It was like practice.
Yeah. Then Casey hit a step back 3. And then had a hockey assist on a short roll to Rink Mass, real slick pass, who dropped it off to Juwan Gary for a dunk. And that put him up 43-13 with just over 5 minutes to play in the first half.
Up 30 points in the first half.
43-13 after 15 minutes of basketball.
And then Michigan did put a zone out there, which kind of confused Nebraska, slowed it down a little bit. Fred Hoiberg even said, he's like, I was not very happy after that 5-minute run, even though as well as they played in the first half. Yeah. But it was
12-2 run to finish the half. And part of it, I mean, Nebraska just missed some shots, and then Michigan got hot and hit a few that they hadn't made the entire game. But that still left them with a 20-point lead at halftime.
Yeah.
And then they got it to 19 and then pushed it back to 26, and it was kind of back and forth. Michigan
finished at 20.
Yeah, got a little sloppy later on, but you got some younger guys in there a little bit, and eventually, Michigan's not going to play that awful for the entire 40 minutes, but they did their work early and were able to kind of cruise to the finish there. One guy who did not cruise, Josiah Allick, right off the bat, and coming off of a couple of really rough outings.
Yeah, they challenged him. Coach Hoiberg said that the day before in media availability. They challenged him to be better, get some rebounds and stuff. And he got 2 offensive rebounds in the very first possession.
And ended it with a dunk.
and a monster dunk at that, a poster dunk. So he that's what he's got to do, though. He needs to be 8 points I guess he had 16 points and 8 rebounds, which is probably a lot more than what you expect from him. He needs to be 8.6 rebounds, good defense, play hard, grab a loose ball or 3. All of those sort of things. That's what he needs to be. So he set the tone early for sure. He really did. And Sam Hoiberg continues to play pretty well in his minutes that he gets. Not going to score a ton. That's fine, but he's doing everything else. He made a heck of a play.
Chasing down his own miss.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Unbelievable. Yeah, missed a 3 at the top of the key, kind of took a bounce.
To the corner.
Dead sprint to the corner.
Right.
Grabbed it, dove out of bounds, and threw it back.
Yeah.
Yeah, an unbelievable play.
Which was that's the best hustle play they've made all year. No, they really, I mean, it really was. It was awesome to see him do that. So it was really good. Bryce Williams was fantastic, just super solid. He's plus 29, which that's really good. So if you're plus over 20, it's good. If you're plus 25, you're like, oh, that's good. But when you're starting to get plus 30, now we're talking.
Yeah, I mean, he was out there for most of that that run to get up 30 there. So that'll certainly help that a little bit. But Josiah, you talked about, that was his career high at Nebraska. most had been 15 against Northwestern. And
it's exactly what they need him to be.
Yeah, and since that Northwestern game, he had scored 18 total points in the next 5 games. So, like you said, they challenged him. He needed to make an impact because his minutes had really been hurting them. And went out there right away, those 2 offensive rebounds, and started the second half with a putback and 1 on his own miss. Yep. Like, he was just relentless there. 4 of those boards were on the offensive end, and then 4 on the defense, too. Like, you need him on both ends securing it. 7 to 10 from the field, so he's efficient with those points, and really just made a big difference there. And K-State finished with 19 on 8 of 14 shooting, 3 of 6 from 3. Again, 2 assists, but he created at least 3 or 4 other buckets off of hockey assists. So he was really impressive, just the way, again, five buckets inside the arc. He was scoring at the rim. He was getting to his pull-up in addition to knocking down those threes. And then Rink Mass, again, continuing to run the offense through him. Didn't score great, 11 points on 4-10 shooting, but 8 assists. And again, continue to operate through him at the high post. And he was a big part of finding Josiah with some high lows, found K-State on some cuts and stuff. So just 4 guys in double figures there, sharing the ball really well. They wasn't a big Juwan Gary game, but they didn't need it. Only 5 points. But Juwan Gary, I mean, Evan Miyakawa shouted him out as one of the best glue guys in the country.
Dude, he's
just so much better with him on the court.
For them, with exactly what they needed him to be. Like, he's, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, they took care of business. They did exactly what they needed to do in this game.
It was very much so like a must-win game. Like, you couldn't lose that game.
And you couldn't mess around either.
Yeah,
don't let them step on their throats early. And that's
right.
exactly what they did. So now you protecting home court, and they got a big one coming up.
It is a big one because Penn State's playing well. They've won 3 of the last 4 out of the last 6. We're recording this on Wednesday. Penn State hosts Michigan State. That's a big game for Michigan State, actually.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I get it's a road game, but Penn State coming to Lincoln on Saturday for 11 a.m. tip. So it's like
after taking on, after the midweek match, while Nebraska had some time off to kind of rest, regroup, and work on some things.
Penn State's going to have to, jump on a flight on Friday, right? So it's one of those, like, you got to win it. Penn State's playing better. They really are. So you got to find a way to protect home court. You really do. And it's the 11 a.m. tip thing makes you a little nervous. And then you go to Indiana and then Minnesota, who's actually playing all right. And then you go to Ohio State for that rematch, which, by next week we'll see where Ohio State's at because they just fired Chris Holtman. So, which is a little bit shocking. I mean, yes, they're kind of a dumpster fire this year, but he's been pretty good, like, for them in the last few years. Yeah. So,
Penn State.
It's right in front of them. They could literally win every single game left on their schedule. Nebraska could. They're going to be favored in most of them, I would say, or at least real close. So we'll see. I mean, and by that time at Michigan, it'll be, they'll be probably ready to turn in their gear. Yeah,
KenPom has Nebraska as a favorite in every game except the Ohio State game, and who knows what that's going to be now.
By then, that'll maybe change.
But projected for a 21-10 finish, 11-9 in conference play. That'll get you in the tournament.
11-9 for sure. Yeah. Well, they just got it. I've said kind of all along, like, they got to get to 20 wins, and you got to be 10-10 in the conference at least. So in order to get in the tournament, so get one of those at-large bids. So it's right there. It's right there. They need 3 more wins out of 6 games left. So they have to win 3, at least 3, and they legit could win all of them. Yeah. I feel very good about the fact that they could win they could finish with 7 wins in a row here.
But we got to start with this one
on
the weekend against Penn State. And it's very much a guard-driven team. Their 2 leading scorers are their guards, Ace Baldwin, 6'1", Connie Clary, 5'11", so 2 smaller guards. And Nebraska, has been up and down against players like that. Obviously, Boo Buie, they held them in check the first game. Second game, not so much. It'll be interesting to see what Fred Hoiberg does with the lineup. the last 2 games he started, the bigger lineup had with all 3 of your front court guys, with Juwan Gary at the 3.
I think they like Jamarcus Lawrence coming off the bench there. And I think he likes it. He's playing better.
And he said he did not play better last game. He played better the first game. He really struggled the last one. So I don't even know if you would try like a Sam Hoiberg in there. Like, it's just...
I think they like that energy off the bench.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like I don't know that it worked against Michigan. It didn't really work against Northwestern. But Hoiberg even said he's expressed that he likes coming off the bench. Lawrence, that is, but they got to do what's best for the team and sets up their rotations best and gives them the matchups, because I don't know, like with that starting lineup with Bryce and Casey as your guards, like who's guarding Baldwin and Clary in that situation. Like, that might be a little bit tough. So we'll see if they change the lineup or stick with it. One thing, the other thing, and this might be part of it too, is the one thing that Penn State does really well on defense is they force turnovers. Teams are turning over at almost a 22% rate against them. So we've seen that be a problem pop up from time to time for Nebraska in the past. They can't afford to turn the ball over in this matchup. So ball security will be key. Maybe that leads to getting another guard in that lineup and moving. You think you'd move Allick back to the bench, but coming off the game he just had, like, do you want to do that? So Fred Hoiberg has some interesting decisions to make. But it'll be an important game on Saturday, and we'll be back next week to talk about it. Although after that, they've got the trip to Indiana midweek. Wednesday. We probably won't talk again until after that. So that's, I mean, we said it, like, road games, they got to find one. Like, and Indiana is a team they've already beat. They've beat pretty handily. They got some tough matchups, but it's a team that's really struggling. KenPom has them as a 1-point favorite, so it's more or less a toss up there. Just
get one of the 3 here on the road and protect home court, and you'll be all right.
Yeah, and Indiana's sitting there at 6-7. They've only won 2 of their last 6, or 2 of their last 7. So this is a game they very much.
Coach is very much on a hot seat right now.
Yeah, so it's an important stretch here. Defend home court. Go get that road win, get over the hump, and then Nebraska is looking to be in a really good place heading down the stretch where you've got a tough Minnesota, Ohio State, as we mentioned, then Rutgers. You get them back at home, and then you visit Michigan again. So get through this week, score a couple wins here, and you're feeling pretty good about where you're at.
Yeah, it's I'm just looking ahead, and I'm like, they could have 23 wins. And if that's the case, their seed line moves up. It's not just getting in. It's like we're
comfortable about it.
Yeah. All right, that'll do it for Nebraska Shootaround this week.